Welcome back to ASBR Boxing's YouTube channel. I'm delighted to be joined by Reece Mould ahead of his fight on October 6th. Reece, thanks for joining me, mate. How are things with you?
No problem. Yeah, all good, thanks. Yeah.
I believe you've been training. Are you in between training sessions or something today, have I?
Yes, I've trained this morning and we'll probably be running tonight. So yeah, you got me just before I go for my nap.
Happy days, brilliant. Thanks very much for your time as always. You're fighting, obviously, I mentioned there on Friday, October the 6th in Sheffield. How's preparation been so far for that fight now? What we're just over 2.5 weeks out.
Yeah, obviously everyone said, "Oh, we've had the best camp and thing," but yeah, we've had really good sparring and stuff for it. We've got a few people in for sparring for this one, with it being the Southpaw and stuff. But yeah, preparation so far, everything's been spot on. The weight been very good, probably the best it has been in for a camp. The weight on the weight side of things, and yeah, we're flying at the minute. One week left to train, and then we're done. Then we'll start tapering down.
Brilliant. You're obviously up against Martin McDonagh. What do you know about him and what he kind of brings to the table? Do you know much about him?
Yeah, so I've had a quick look at him, but obviously I leave that to the team. Yeah, he was obviously a very good amateur. He's coming to pros and got a few tests early on in his career, which a lot of people don't normally do. And all credit to him, he took them tests and he might have failed, but it looks like he's come back. He's on a good stride at the minute. He's obviously going to come. This is a massive opportunity for him to go into top 15. So we know he's going to bring the best version of Martin. But we're excited for that.
Absolutely. I believe this will be your third fight this year, so pretty active. Do you feel like the more active you are, the better you perform?
Yeah, definitely. I've shown that as well as when I was an amateur, more active. I were in the championships and stuff. I got better as they went along. And his last few years, due to COVID and when I was mandated for the British title and things, I was very inactive, waiting for the fight dates and things like that. And it didn't help at all. And yeah, thanks to GBM and stuff, they're keeping me busy and getting me back in that ring. And I said to them at the start of the year, I want to be busy. And that's what they've done. They've kept me busy. We actually had the choice whether we wanted to sit out until next year, waiting for the big fight, because we knew that the opponents were tied up until end of this year. But I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to sit out and get back in there, but I didn't want to just get back in there with an opponent. But that's no disrespect to him. What I could knock him over. Wanted to get back in there with a good opponent. That's why Martin's been picked.
Absolutely. So you mentioned at the start of the call that you're feeling good with your weight and everything. Just kind of, how better do you feel suited now at lightweight? Obviously, we've seen you've done it featherweight and stuff in the past. So how do you feel now? More, do you feel like you're at your best at 135 pounds?
Most definitely. I mean, we know we were going to struggle at the 9 stone and more. When we first made the decision after the Lee Wood, my trainer says to me, "We've got to move up 2 weights," and I wanted to just move up 1 weight. But looking back now, I think it's definitely done my best. I've started to grow into the weight and stuff now, and I think it's going to start showing. And we're looking to put a big performance on 6.
Obviously, looking at lightweight now, even domestically, at the minute, pretty stacked division. Plenty of big fights out there for you. Obviously, a few just kind of. You've got the British title, Gavin Gwynn has, doesn't he? Mark Chamberlain is kind of floating about as a prospect. Sam Noakes, they're all fighting soon. Are they fights that potentially interest you in the future, or are you looking above that now?
Yeah, no, they're definitely fights, and everyone wants to fight for a British title. I mean, obviously, I win this, I'm more than likely going to the top 10 with the WBA. So could get one of them, that'd be perfect. But if not, yeah, or there's Gary Cully. I mean, we've been talking talks for that fight and stuff, but I'm not looking past Martin. I know Martin's going to bring his best, and we've got to deal with him first, then we'll look at these fights after.
Absolutely. Just kind of on the whole, Reece, this is the first time I've chatted to you, so I'm not 100% sure, but it was kind of, I like to ask every fighter. You're obviously, I think you're only 28, is that right?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
What are your, from the start, when you first got into boxing, from your amateur days to turning pro, have your aspirations changed at all? Like, did you always want to win, an English title, a British title? You didn't think about winning a title, or have you always wanted to win a world title? How did it kind of work for you?
Yeah, so obviously a lot of people probably think I'm lying because I've already done it, but all I wanted to do when I turned to professional was win an English title. I did that, and then I went and did it again, and then after that I wanted to win an international title, and I went and did that. Uh, so I've done the things that I want to do. So now it's just about securing those big fights, but I know I can't slip up now to get them big fights.
You mentioned there those big fights. How far do you think you can go?
Don't know. I don't know. I don't really know. I'd like to think I could go all the way, and if my team, if I can do what my team is saying what I can do, I could go definitely come through the European and come through a European title fight.
Brilliant. And obviously, you mentioned there before as well that this is for the WBA lightweight continental title. Win this, and as you said, you get a good ranking as in the top 10 or top 15. Is there a chance that you're hoping maybe? I don't know whether this is kind of a shot in the dark, but obviously the WBA super champion, I believe Devin Haney has all the belts, and then Gervonta Davis has the regular title. You never know. Stranger things have happened in boxing. If Haney moves up and that title becomes vacant and you're in the top 10, you never know. Is that something you've thought of? Your name might get mentioned as a or put into a fight for a world title.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously, I am ranked. Well, I think I might be ranked 11 with the WBA now. Come through this on the 6th, I should go into the top 10. So, and I'm hearing all the belts are going to come vacant. So, yeah, you could be picked at any minute. And any of them names in top 10 are massive names. So, yeah.
Absolutely. This fight against Martin McDonagh, do you think it's being billed as a 50-50? Do you think that's a fair assessment, or do you see yourself as a favourite here?
Yeah, I probably see myself as a favourite. So, what I've done in my career, and him having 2 losses early on in his career, yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting. I think, yeah, I would probably agree, I think, but it's just, I think general consensus was, a lot of people will think that this is a fairly close fight, but that's interesting. You mentioned as well at the start about sparring and getting good sparring partners in. Obviously, you've been doing that, but have you been sparring with the likes of Maxi Hughes or whatever? Or has he not been in the gym?
No, Maxi will straight back in the gym, yeah. So, all been top quality and highly rated sparring partners what we had. Even right up to super welterweights, we've been sparring on a weekly basis.
Have you been sparring? Have you been sparring or anything with Josh? Or is that do you not really spar?
We did do quite a bit of sparring early on in the camp, but we've both got our brain scans coming up towards Christmas. I don't think our sparring's suited for them more. To be fair, we're not really suited for our opponents, and obviously he's not a southpaw. So we haven't been sparring these last 4 or 5 weeks now. But early on in camp, we were sparring. You can either call it sparring or wars anyway with me and Josh getting there.
Brilliant. And I kind of I have to ask you as well. You're probably the perfect person to ask. You're training alongside Josh. He's fighting for the world title against former opponent of yours, Lee Wood. Day after yourself, how do you see that fight going? Do you think that your friend Josh is going to become what, 3-time world champion?
Yeah, I've got a lot of respect for Lee Wood and his team. They had a lot of great words for me and stuff after the fight. And even to this day, I still get messages from him wishing me all the best in my fight, same as his team. But I just think Josh has been at this level for a lot longer, and seeing him in the gym, I haven't seen him this focused and more determined than when he boxed Selby. I really believe Josh is going to stop him in the fight.
Stoppage? Do you think it could come later on? I think a lot of people are either edging towards a Wood knockout or Josh on points. So that's interesting that you're saying that.
Yeah, obviously don't like to give too much away or stuff, but I just see Josh being too much for Lee Wood, and I think he stops him. Yeah.
Interesting, very interesting. Looking back to yourself now, Reece, quickly just before we finish up. how do the last few weeks of training look like for you? When's the last spar? Kind of when do you begin to taper everything down and really focus on the weight making?
Yeah, so obviously we don't, now I'm at this weight, we don't really struggle. Don't get me wrong, making weight's not easy, but it's not as a concern as what it was when I was featherweight. So we can spar right up to we'll probably finish our last spar next Thursday or Friday a week out, whereas before we're having to finish 2 weeks out to just concentrate on the weight and stuff. So yeah, we'll finish our last spar Friday and have our last hard session Monday the week of the fight. But yeah, just really got one really hard week of training, and then with the taper really down. And weight's just about made. I'm like there basically on weight.
3 days, that must be a bonus then for yourself. And just finally, Reece, I always like to finish an interview. What can fans and everyone watching on October 6th in Sheffield, so what can we expect from Reece Mould?
Stoppage.
Stoppage. So going out in a limb, brilliant, Reece. Really appreciate your time here today, mate. Thanks for joining me. And yeah, I'll hopefully speak up. I'll hopefully catch up with you post fight.
Yeah, thank you, mate.
Cheers, Reece. All the best.